If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns have made a move that, on the surface, might look like just another transaction buried in the endless churn of NFL roster management. But for those who know the story of Luke Floria, this one carries an emotional punch. The Browns officially announced that they have signed wide receiver Luke Floria to the practice squad, while in a corresponding move they released defensive end KJ Henry from that same group. At first glance, it's the kind of front office maneuver that rarely earns more than a passing mention on the league wire. But if you dig deeper, if you trace back the winding journey of Floria, this isn't just a story about a name filling a slot. This is about resilience, persistence, heartbreak, and a chance, just a chance, that could change a player's life forever. For Floria, this isn't the first time his name has brushed up against the Cleveland Browns roster. After going undrafted in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Browns were quick to sign him as a free agent. They saw something in him, something that maybe other teams overlooked. But dreams in the NFL are fragile things, and before he could show much of what he had in training camp, Floria was waived with an injury designation. Just like that, the dream felt as though it was over. Injuries don't care about hope or hunger. They don't care that a young receiver has trained his entire life for this chance. They strip away the spotlight, leaving only uncertainty, pain, and the long road back. For many players, that would have been the end. But not for Luke Floria. His story begins in Minter, Ohio, where the young wideout first made his mark. Coming out of high school, he wasn't one of those five-star, headline-grabbing prodigies that recruiting sites fawn over. He was a three-star recruit, ranked 244th among receivers in the 2020 class. That number might not scream future NFL, but what it does scream is fight. Players in that range aren't handed anything. They have to claw their way into every opportunity, prove themselves again and again, and demand attention through sheer willpower. When he committed to Kent State, he wasn't choosing a football powerhouse. He was choosing a program where he could grow, where he could play, where he could show that stars on paper don't define grit on the field. At Kent State, Floria carved out his legacy. Across 5 seasons and 47 games with the Golden Flashes, he became more than just a name on the roster. 100 receptions, 1,302 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Those numbers don't come easy. They represent years of grinding through practice, taking hits across the middle, stretching for passes just out of reach, and refusing to quit no matter the situation. He even showed versatility, rushing a handful of times, finding the end zone once on the ground. That willingness to do whatever was asked, to adapt, to embrace any role, is exactly the type of intangible that NFL coaches quietly value. It doesn't scream from highlight reels, but it whispers in the rooms where decisions are made. And so, when the Browns initially signed him, it felt like the natural progression of a young man's dream. But the NFL has a cruel way of testing just how much you want that dream. Injuries, as they so often do, stepped in to derail his first attempt. Yet here we are, months later, and Floria is back. He's not on the 53-man roster, not even on the game day sidelines. He's on the practice squad, a place where dreams flicker but are not extinguished. To the casual fan, the practice squad may seem insignificant. But to players like Floria, it's a lifeline. It's a chance to suit up, to learn, to absorb the speed and complexity of the league, to get in the coach's line of sight every single day. And for many players before him, the practice squad has been the launching pad to real, lasting NFL careers. Let's not forget, this move came with sacrifice. To make room for Floria, the Browns released defensive end KJ Henry from the practice squad. It's a reminder that every NFL transaction has a human side. For every door that opens, another closes. For Henry, it's a tough blow, and for Floria, it's a reminder that his own position is just as fragile. There are no guarantees here. But if you know Floria's story, if you know the kind of competitor he is, you also know that he's not walking into this opportunity with complacency. He's walking in with hunger. Meanwhile, in a week dominated by headlines of the Detroit Lions out-muscling and outsmarting the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, a shock to fans who watched the Lions not just beat, but out-Raven the Ravens, the Browns' quieter move risks being overlooked. But sometimes it's the quiet moves, the ones not drenched in spotlight, that end up shaping seasons. Because if injuries hit the receiving core, if depth is tested, or if Floria simply impresses enough in practice to force his way into consideration, suddenly this signing becomes more than just a line on the transaction sheet. Suddenly, it's a story of a local Ohio kid, overlooked by the giants of college football, who clawed his way back from an injury waiver to catch passes in the NFL. Think about the drama of that possibility. Floria running routes at practice, catching balls from Browns quarterbacks, absorbing the offense, and sharpening his game against NFL-level defenders. Every rep is an audition. Every drill is a chance to prove that he belongs. For a young man who's been waiting his whole life for this, that's fuel. And in a city like Cleveland, where fans know the value of underdogs, where they rally behind grinders who refuse to give up, the story of Luke Floria resonates. He's not just another name. He's one of them. He's Ohio-born, Ohio-bred, and now wearing the colors of Ohio's team. Of course, the road ahead isn't easy. Practice squad players don't often make headlines. Many toil in obscurity, contributing quietly behind the scenes. But history tells us not to dismiss their chances. Some of the league's greats once started in that same position, overlooked, underestimated, and waiting for their shot. And when that shot came, they seized it. Floria's path has echoes of that possibility. His journey through high school, through Kent State, through being undrafted, waived, and now reclaimed, shows a pattern of persistence. And in the NFL, persistence often becomes opportunity. The timing of this move also underscores a broader theme in football right now: resilience. Just as the Lions shocked the Ravens by embodying Baltimore's own style better than Baltimore itself, teams across the league are learning that success isn't just about raw talent or star power. It's about grit, adaptability, and seizing chances when they appear. Floria embodies that same ethos. He may not have the dazzling statistics of a first-round pick, but he has the hunger, and sometimes, hunger is the sharpest weapon of all. In the days to come, fans might not hear much more about Luke Floria. His name might not be splashed across highlight reels or fantasy football discussions. But inside the Browns facility, his presence will be felt. He'll be lining up, running routes, giving the defense a look at what they'll face on Sundays. He'll be sweating, grinding, preparing, and doing everything in his power to show that he's not just filling a practice squad slot. He's preparing for something bigger. And maybe, just maybe, one day soon, the name Luke Floria will be called not just in press releases, but over the stadium speakers on a Sunday afternoon. For now, though, the story is simple but powerful. The Cleveland Browns have signed wide receiver Luke Floria to the practice squad, releasing defensive end KJ Henry in the process. It's a move that might seem minor in the grand scheme of the NFL news cycle, especially with the league still buzzing about the Lions' stunning victory over the Ravens. But in Cleveland, it's more than that. It's the continuation of a young man's fight to make his dream real. It's the story of resilience, of persistence, of refusing to give up when the world tells you no. And in the unpredictable, unforgiving, and beautiful world of football, those are the stories that matter most. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The NFL world is absolutely buzzing right now. And if you thought the off-season drama had settled down, think again. Yesterday, the football universe was shaken to its core after a statement from none other than former Cleveland Browns head coach Jason Garrett. And the implications for the Browns are sending shockwaves through every corner of the league. The comments, delivered during what seemed to be a casual media appearance, were anything but casual in their impact. Garrett, who has a reputation for careful wording and strategic thinking, dropped hints that have left fans and analysts alike scrambling to make sense of what could be one of the most explosive rumors of the year. The Browns, who have been through their fair share of turbulence over the last few seasons, suddenly find themselves at the center of speculation that could redefine the trajectory of the team. Garrett's remarks, though cryptic, seem to target Kevin Stefanski's future with the franchise, hinting at tensions that insiders have long suspected, but few had concrete evidence to confirm. The language Garrett used was measured, almost diplomatic, but there was an unmistakable edge, the kind of tone that suggests there's more going on behind the scenes than anyone outside the organization has been able to see. For a team like the Browns, which has been painstakingly building towards stability under Stefanski, This kind of insinuation is enough to set fans into a frenzy and fuel the rumor mills for weeks, if not months. What makes Garrett's statement particularly incendiary is the context in which it was made. Known for his deep understanding of coaching dynamics and his ability to read locker rooms, Garrett didn't just make a generic comment. He framed it in a way that directly implicated strategic decisions and leadership approaches within the Browns organization. When a figure of his stature and experience starts questioning the direction of a team, or more specifically, the efficacy of its head coach, it's not a casual critique. It's a spark in a powder keg. Analysts have immediately begun dissecting every word, every pause, every nuance in the way Garrett delivered his statement, searching for clues about whether this is simply a personal opinion, a veiled warning, or a precursor to more dramatic changes. The reaction from the Browns fan base was instantaneous. Social media erupted with speculation, memes, and heated debates as supporters tried to parse the implications of Garrett's comments. Was Stefanski truly on thin ice? Are we looking at a potential shakeup in the coaching staff? Some fans, ever optimistic, are brushing it off as the musings of a respected figure, while others are convinced this is the prelude to a seismic shift in the Browns' leadership. The rumor mills are running at full throttle, with insiders already hinting at meetings behind closed doors and discussions that could alter the power dynamics within the organization. Every tweet, every post, every interview clip is now being scrutinized for hidden meaning, and the narrative is evolving by the hour. Garrett's reputation adds another layer to the intrigue. He's someone who rarely speaks without purpose, and his insights into coaching philosophies and team management carry weight. When he questions Stefanski, even indirectly, it raises questions not just about performance on the field, but about locker room culture, player relationships, and front office alignment. There are whispers among NFL circles that Garrett might be signaling deeper issues that the public hasn't yet seen. Perhaps it's about play-calling strategies, or maybe it's about how Stefanski handles pressure in high-stakes situations. The speculation is nearly limitless, and for a franchise that has been trying to cement its identity, this kind of attention can either catalyze change or throw the team into chaos. Media outlets have jumped on the story with the kind of hunger reserved for championship controversies and blockbuster trades. Every network, every sports journalist, every commentator has taken a crack at interpreting Garrett's words, with theories ranging from subtle coaching disagreements to the possibility of a full-blown organizational rift. Some reports suggest that Garrett's comments might have been influenced by insiders within the Browns, while others speculate that he's simply offering his perspective from a distance, unfiltered and unrestrained. Regardless, the coverage has been relentless, amplifying the sense that the Browns are at a pivotal crossroads. The rumor has become a narrative in its own right, feeding itself as fans and pundits contribute theories and possible scenarios, creating a feedback loop that makes the story almost impossible to contain. It's not just about Stefanski, though he's undeniably at the center of this whirlwind. The broader implications touch on team culture, the direction of player development, and even the Browns' positioning for upcoming drafts and free agency. Coaches at Garrett's level have a long view, a sense of league-wide dynamics that most observers can only guess at. When someone like him hints at instability or potential friction, it's rarely trivial. The Browns could be facing internal negotiations, power shifts, or strategic recalibrations that we may not see publicly until weeks, or even months, later. Yet fans and analysts alike are already placing bets on how this could play out, speculating about everything from offensive adjustments to potential trades and personnel changes. The rumor is already shaping expectations for the next season. Meanwhile, inside the Browns organization, sources suggest that conversations are intensifying, with executives and coaching staff reportedly reviewing Garrett's statements and considering how to address the growing wave of speculation. Whether this leads to a reaffirmation of Stefanski's position or sparks a behind-the-scenes shakeup is anyone's guess, but one thing is clear. The Browns are no longer just a team with playoff aspirations. They are a focal point of NFL drama, the kind of narrative that fans live for and that the league thrives on. The ripple effects could extend beyond Cleveland, influencing how other teams approach coaching stability and leadership evaluation. Garrett's comments, though brief, may have inadvertently triggered a chain reaction with consequences that we are only beginning to understand. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!